Hey, I'm Repton, and this is Repton Does. Today we're going to tackle the next set of blueprints in our modular stackable series. This will be for the Foundries. Have kind of the same challenge that we did with the assemblers. So we've got multiple inputs. You've got something that's larger than a foundation wide, so we can't get quite as many close together. So same idea though, we want to make sure we have inputs and outputs on different horizontal and vertical planes. And the reason for that is so that we can bring things in without clipping or as little clipping as possible. And then we got to have them in those different horizontal planes and vertical planes as well for the lifts that are coming up the backside as we start to stack higher and higher. So if we stacked inputs and outputs over top of each other vertically, then our lifts would be clipping on top of each other as we went up. So this is a stack of 8, just so you can get an idea what it looks like. With that, let's jump in and build one. So we'll head over to our blueprint designer. Let's clear it off. Okay, so again, when we grab the foundry, we can see that it will not fit in a single foundation wide. So we can't stack them like we have other pieces. We had the same issue with the assembler. Fortunately, this is not as long, so we can get a little bit more than the single one at a time with assemblers. So you're going to drop one right in the middle here, and then slide it in two. Then we'll flip around the other side. Slide it in two. And now this is where I certainly had some challenges. Some of it was, well, I got to keep them on the same input, so I had belts crossing over each other. I mean, that's not really true. You just got to get the same two things into the foundry for whatever you're making. So if you're making steel, you've got to get iron and coal in there. They don't have to be on the same side for every foundry. So mixing sides is okay, just as long as you get those two items consistently in on an input. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from this back side and kind of build forward. So we're going to put a lift in both sides. And then because we've got to keep these separate planes, we're not going to really put anything in the middle. So let's grab a splitter. Want things coming in from the front. Okay, so that, just connect these. Again, using Mark III belts for all this, you could certainly upgrade them as you get faster belts, and just be aware you are restricted by belt speed if you're doing more products here. So we've got our first, so we've got something coming in this side, so now we can't put anything else on this side. So for the other input, we're going to come in on this right side. So again, we're going to put in our lift, and we also got to be different vertically. So we've got to go up two, our splitter. We want products coming in from the front, and connect. So now these two are separated vertically and horizontally. You'll get a little bit of clipping here, especially with products, but it really didn't bother me as I watched these run. So you could play around with this more and probably get no clipping at all. In fact, if you flipped the height on these, actually, as we're talking about it, that would address that issue, though you would have it on the back side as you were running to the next set. So you're going to have some if you go with this approach, but it's minimal, and I think it's fine. All right, so next are our outputs. So same problem, we've got to be on a different horizontal and vertical plane. We need a merger. We want to bring our products here. So we're going to stack it here so that gets me high enough. And then I'm going to move it into the center. So now it's between these two inputs to bring my outputs back out. Now that seems okay. I'm not crazy about that approach, and in the end with these stackers you had to add, I ended up not liking that at all. So it is an option if you want to do that. You can bring it right through here in the middle and you'll have all your inputs and outputs right there. What I did instead was bring my lift over here. 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to put the merger right on there. Bring our lift over on our other foundry. Face it the right direction. And then connect. Now, you can just run them straight across. I like the straight belts where you get a little curve. It's more intentional to me. Okay, so now we have everything in a different horizontal, vertical plane. We just need to add some belt stackers so that as we're bringing things in and connecting things, we'll have a way to do that. So we're going to bring one here. And then on this back side, we need 3 high over there. And then we need 4 high over there. And connect your belts. Okay, looking pretty good. We need to put some, we'll have to put some power on, but that'll happen after we drop our roof. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Everything is separated. So let's bring our wall in so we can put a roof on top of this thing. You could use any wall roof you like. I like the framed walls and framed floor. So we're going to bring it 3 high as all the others have been. And then we'll attach the frame floor. Again, we're in the middle of 2, so this is always 2 sets instead of 1. And then don't forget to remove the wall, because we will not be able to build with that wall sitting on the edge of the designer. And let's add some power. I like the wall outlets for this as well. This is another one where the power is offset, so you can't just come right down the middle. But if you bring them up like this, attach them to those frame floors, and then attach across to each other, everything's connected. You'll have one entry point when you bring power in when you're building this later. Okay, so this looks like our 2x foundry, and this is our base, and it's on the odd floor, first floor, right? So we would just grab our icon. Foundry, 2x foundry base odd. As you get more and more blueprints, you'll thank yourself so much for having some sort of organization system. I still have a mess in my undefined, but I'll get around to that. So there's our 2x foundry base odd, and we'll save that blueprint. Okay, and this is the odd one, and again, just like everything else, because we want to stack, we need an even version of this. So the nice thing about that is really all it is we want to change the direction of flow of everything. Everything else stays where it is. Because we're going to be removing splitters and mergers, we have to remove the belts, because they're, even though they might look like they're connected, they're really not. So let's go ahead. Oops. Let's grab our splitter. This time we want things coming in this way. Connect our belts. That. Now there is a belt on the other side, and I have forgotten it from time to time. So when we swing back around, we'll make sure we get that other belt and remove it. So let's bring the splitter here. In. Belt. Closure. This time we want product coming this way. And our belt. Belt back. Now, like I said, don't forget about this belt right over here. If you don't remove that and reconnect it, if you just removed the splitter, The belt will still sit here and it'll actually look like it's connected, but it is really not. So make sure you remove this one and then come back and reattach it. Okay, so this should now be our 2x base even. So let's see. Oops, not there. Save that. It's not an enclosure. Not gonna do that. Seems like I can't. So we'll save that and we did. So if you ever have that, just come into blueprints, hit edit, grab this, make sure you drop it on the bar, not in the area. You drop it on this little bar here with the title. Apply changes. Now it's in the right place. Okay, so let's reload our odd and let's start building out different configurations. So here's our 2x. Again, just like all the others, you could call it done right there and then just stack and connect things as you want to. I encourage you to build out what you can fit on the blueprint designer. It'll just be faster when you need to do things and you're building your factories. Alright, so let's drop another odd down. And then just remember, after you drop this one down, you just need to connect the belts between. So connect that one. So we forgot that one, that's why it was... No, there it is. And connect this one. And then connect your power. Okay, and this would be our 4x flat. So we're just going to say 4x flat. Alright. As you can see, we already have that one. Let's see that, and then say blueprint. And then to build our 8x stack, which is the next configuration, we're going to grab even blueprints, so our 2x out of the base even that we just built. Make sure things are lined up, drop it. And we're going to drop a second one. Except we don't have enough modular frames. So I'm going to go grab some modular frames. Let's quickly do that real fast. Oh my gosh. Nothing worse than setting out to show a quick tutorial and finding out we're out of something. No biggie. We should have plenty of modular frames over here. Stacks. Head back. Got a lot of work going on in the factory here too. As we're progressing further, starting to set up a lot more logistics, transportation type logistics. And I think this whole factory is actually going to get torn down. Kind of unbelievable. Look at that stacked bus there. Impressive, but it's getting, as we look at the quantities of things we have to build later, just didn't think it was going to be manageable. Alright, so let's see if we can get this now. So, flip that around. Looks right. So we'll drop that down. And now, again, we're just going to connect our belts. Our lifts on the back. So if we did this right, we should be able to bring all of our outputs. So inputs. 1, 2, and this would be our 8x stack. Awesome. So let's save this. Stack. Save directory. Alright. We forgot one thing, right? We did not connect power together, so let's do that real quick. So connect these two together, and then you'll also want to connect your top and bottom so that you really just have to connect one thing, and you are powering the whole stack. So there we go. Just save this. Alright, so there it is, our Foundry stack. You could stack these as high as you want. You can build them further wider. If you want to just keep extending out this way, you would just take off these lifts, keep running until you get to the end, and then add on the lifts at the end if you're going up the stack. If you're going to stay flat, no biggie. You just keep running as far as you'd like to go, or stack as high as you'd like to stack. Some of my factories I'm starting to stack quite high just because I have unlimited vertical space. At some point it starts to get a little ridiculous, but for now this is working out great as I put together some of these bigger factories for larger production. I think that'll be it for this set of blueprints, and really wraps up our whole series on modular stackable ones. From here on in you get to much taller, bigger things. We'll be looking at something for a fuel generator factory, diluted fuel actually. So be on the lookout for that. Until then, stay curious and keep searching.